Good morning. This is Orly Tates, and this is Tate's Report. And today, I wanted to provide the public with information in regards to Barack Obama's Social Security number. As many of you probably know, Barack Obama posted his tax returns online on whitehouse.gov. And originally, he forgot to flatten the file of his 2009 tax returns. As he posted those on April the 15th of 2010. So what happened is that his full unredacted Social Security number became available to the public. And when this number was checked, it failed both E-Verify and SSNVS. So what I wanted to start with, this is the SSNVS showing, it says here, failed, showing that the number that Barack Obama is using was never assigned to him. So research was done by a number of investigators, and they found that in multiple databases, Barack Obama's Social Security number is connected to somebody born in 1890 because it alternates. In some records it shows date of birth 1961, in other records it shows 1890. And you would imagine that somebody who was born in 1890 is not going to go and steal Social Security number for somebody who was born more recently. It is, of course, more likely that somebody who was born later will use the Social Security number of somebody who was born earlier. And now, since we have the confirmation by E-Verify and SSNVS that Obama is using the number that was never assigned to him, we continued this search. And investigator Neil Sankey has found the date of birth 1890, so did investigator Susan Daniels. Further on, investigator and debt collector and skip trace investigator by name Albert Hendershot has found information that the same Social Security number 042684425 is linked to both Barack Obama and Harry or Harrison J. Bounel, B-O-U-N-E-L, and actually connected to the same address on Greenwood in Chicago, Illinois. And I have here the report from Mr. Hendershot that he provided earlier in the year. The same Social Security number is connected to Barack Obama. And what's interesting that that Michelle Obama is listed, of course, as a relative on the documents for Barack Obama, which of course we would expect to happen. But also, what is interesting, that she is listed as a relative for Harry Bounel. And here are the documents that you can see. I'm going to put it as close to the camera as I possibly can so that you can see Harrison Bounel and Barack Obama share the same Social Security number. And this number was connected to a number of transactions in relation to 5046 South Greenwood Avenue in Chicago, Illinois, 60615. So when Mr. Hendershot found this information, he was harassed. He was harassed by the FBI, and he provided me this affidavit, which I filed with court in the beginning of this year. And in April, he was visited by the FBI. Currently, I have several cases dealing with the same issue. And what is interesting, that if Mr. Hendershot would have been wrong, and I have requested information for Harry Bounel. Originally, Social Security Administration stated that they cannot provide this information due to considerations of privacy. And I requested again, stating that according to new 120-year rule, people who were born 120 years ago or earlier are considered extremely aged individuals. and Social Security Administration is obligated to provide their application. I filed this case in court, at which time Social Security Administration responded by saying that they cannot locate the record. I responded to the judge that this is fraud, that they have already written that they have this record, but they cannot provide it due to consideration of privacy. Again, a couple days ago, Social Security Administration responded with the most idiotic answer. What was the answer? They stated that the first time when they checked under Harry Bounel, they only looked at under the number, and because in their records it stated that the number is used by a living individual, they did not disclose it, and they've written that they would not disclose it for consideration of privacy. Later on, when I provided more information, then they looked under the name, and at that time they realized that they do not have the record, which makes absolutely no sense, because both letters were sent and signed by the same senior FOIA officer of Social Security Administration by name Don Wiggins. And both are stating that the check was not under a specific number, but under the name Harry Bounel. But what is interesting, that FBI visited Mr. Hendershot. And I will read to you the sworn declaration that was prepared by Mr. Hendershot. And he is stating, I, Albert Henderson, am over 18 years old. I am a debt collector and investigator residing in Birmingham, Alabama area. I have personal knowledge of facts listed below, and I am willing and able to testify in the court of law in regards to the following facts. I'm working with attorney Orly Tates on the issue of Connecticut Social Security number. In his statement, it is being redacted, but the number is 042684425, which Barack Obama listed on his 2009 tax return posted on whitehouse.gov. Originally, Mr. Obama did not flatten the PDF file. The full Social Security number became available to the public, and it subsequently failed both E-Verify and SSNDS. I am greatly concerned with the fact that we have an individual in the White House with an invalid Social Security number which was not issued to him. I embarked on research and found that the number 042684425 was assigned to Harry Bounel. On February 4, 2013, I signed and notarized an affidavit relating to my findings, and I mailed it to attorney Orly Tates. Exhibit 1 is my true and correct affidavit. In my affidavit, I stated that I performed a search in Merlin Information Systems database, http://acciom.com/identity solutions, which is routinely used by debt collectors. I found that in the above databases, Barack Obama and Harry Bounel are listed as holders of the same Social Security number, 042684425, and listed at the same address at 5046 South Greenwood Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Aforementioned record shows Michelle Obama being a relative of both Harry Bounel and Barack Obama. Attorney Tates made this affidavit public and submitted it to court. On April 10, 2013, I was visited by FBI agents who asked me for my computer and the password for my computer. I asked if they had a warrant. They said that they did not have a warrant, and I told them to go away and get off my property. I called the local FBI office in Birmingham, Alabama, and asked if there is a warrant for any of my property and if they are aware of FBI employees going to my house. FBI employee who answered the phone did not have any such information. Shortly thereafter, the same FBI agents came to my house with several police officers. I was thrown to the ground and handcuffed. FBI officer by name Jacob U. Blair, see his signature on Exhibit 2, gave me his FBI ID. A supervisor got out of his car and told me, "We can do it the easy way or the hard way." He proceeded saying that if I voluntarily give my computers and the passcode to my computers, I will not be arrested. As I was handcuffed and being concerned of being hauled to jail under duress, I signed a consent, quote unquote consent, to search of my computer, and FBI officers gave me a receipt. Exhibit 2, consent to search computers and receipt by the FBI. 2 weeks later, FBI returned my computer. I declare that all of the aforementioned is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and informed consent. Albert Henderson, September 16, 2013. And here's his signature on this letter. Well, this is of great concern because what we're seeing today, that Obama regime is using FBI as some type of Chicago mob or Nazi Germany Gestapo. This should not be happening in the United States of America. We should not have FBI agents appearing in somebody's house without a warrant, throwing the person on the ground, handcuffing him, and demanding a consent, quote unquote consent, to search his computers and demanding his password. This kind of behavior has to end. But what it tells us, if Albert Henderson would have been wrong in his research, and Obama was not using the Social Security number of Harry Bounel, all Social Security had to do is release the information, the application for Harry Bounel. It would have shown a different number, and there wouldn't have been any problem. They would not have to send FBI to handcuff Albert Henderson and search his computer. Why? If he made a mistake, so there is nothing important in his computer. The reason he was handcuffed and searched and his computer was searched by the FBI is because they knew that the information is correct. We do have a criminal, just an unprecedented crime afoot, a criminal sitting in the White House with a stolen Social Security number and all fabricated IDs. And more information you can find on my website, orlytatesesq.com. This is being submitted to several courts in California, in Maryland, in Washington, D.C., and we'll be waiting and hoping that there will be one honest judge who will demand that Social Security Administration provide this judge with SS5, which is the application for the Social Security number that they found originally and later on stated that they couldn't find it anymore. Well, and going back to the news of the day, of course, many of you know that today we have a debate raging on the issue of debt ceiling. And Barack Obama appeared on national TV and stated, raising the debt ceiling does not mean raising of the debt. It only means that we have to pay obligations that we already made. It's like paying your checkbook or credit card. No, it's not. It's not. We already incurred debt. What debt ceiling does and why it's needed is if Barack Obama incurs more debt, he would be able to dip into this higher ceiling and he can continue borrowing more. If he were to live within his means, as every one of us does, on $2.3 trillion that he gets from us in taxes. Plus, he raised our taxes by another $285 billion, so it's $2.6 trillion. If he were to live on the money that he's getting from us, there is no need to raise the debt ceiling. Furthermore, he stated that it never happened before for the U.S. government for the U.S. Congress to demand that the president negotiate with them in order for them to allow him to borrow more. And that, of course, is a complete lie. Washington Post gave him 4 Pinocchios for being an extraordinary liar. And of course, in 2006, and you can find it on the internet, Barack Obama appeared in Congress and stated that the U.S. Congress should not increase the debt ceiling over $8 billion for George Bush because it means that US government cannot live within its own means, that US government is dependent on borrowing money from foreign countries. It is dangerous for the US national security. It is dangerous for the economy. And the man is just a pathological liar. Now he is saying that we never had this kind of situation where the president had to negotiate with Congress on the issue of debt ceiling and saying this is not negotiable. I think the only quality that makes Obama different or special from anybody that I've seen in my life, and probably many of you have seen, is the fact that the man is a pathological liar without any conscience. He's void of any remnants of any conscience, any moral values, any decency, any integrity. He just stares at you and lies. Simply lies. Just as he lied about the fact that his White House will not be connected to lobbyists, will not be dependent on lobbyists, and he promptly closed it to American citizens. And the only ones who are going to the White House are the lobbyists and donors and friends. He lied on that. He lied on negotiations on the debt ceiling. He lied on the fact that such negotiations happened before. The man is a pathological liar. And because of that, I think it's time for the US Congress and judges and members of the judiciary to understand a man who is a pathological liar is capable of lying about his IDs and his social security number. All the facts show it. His character shows it. His predisposition to lying. And it is time. It is really high time to prosecute this issue on the merits, to make sure that not only Barack Obama is removed from the White House, that goes without saying, but the man needs to be thrown in prison for what he did. He committed a de facto coup d'etat. He got in the White House by fraud, using fabricated IDs. And in order to make sure that this does not happen again, we need to make sure that Obama is prosecuted, that he does serve prison term for that, so it never happens again. And not only Obama, all of the corrupt individuals, corrupt US attorneys, corrupt judges, corrupt officials in the US government and the government of Hawaii need to be sent to prison for what they're doing. And it really depends on you if this happens. So what's happening today, as I said, the debt ceiling negotiations continue, and let's hope that there will be some backbone among members of Congress, that will see some backbone, will see some guts, that they will finally stand up to Barack Obama and will tell him no, enough of this insane spending. And if you want to spend more, if you want us to raise that ceiling, you have to work with us and negotiate and show us exactly where will you cut your spending. And let's hope that we will see some integrity and respect for the law by the judges, who will finally issue a motion or grant a motion to compel production of documents, production of records of Social Security, passport records, and other agencies, so we can finally come to a conclusion and have Barack Obama exposed and prosecuted for his use of fabricated IDs. This is Orly Tates, and thank you for watching the Tates Report.